Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy my stories. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you never miss out. Now on with the stories.
Ever heard people say, just dissolve the HOA? Yeah, we'd love to, and that's what we thought happened. Our HOA is essentially dissolved. But we didn't know it, and now who will maintain our road? In most HOAs, there are two things: a legal entity like a non-profit corporation, and recorded declarations. When we bought our house almost 10 years ago, those calling themselves an HOA tricked us into buying by providing fake, unrecorded declarations that removed most of the restrictions. Our realtor, title company, closing attorney, and mortgage company all accepted them as valid, never mentioning the recording requirement, or looking at the original, which was recorded and expired. So we bought. Since then, our mountain road has been a wreck. We just found out that the collective owners before us did just that, let the HOA declarations expire over 12 years ago. But since then, the same original owners, the fraudsters who let it expire, continue to send bills and collect dues, terrorize new owners with threats, and fail to maintain our dangerous mountain road. Never being elected, they proclaim themselves as the interim board, but have no authority whatsoever, even going so far as to sign or not sign legal documents regarding easements on property owned by the HOA non-profit business entity. Now they collect money but don't maintain the road where the money is supposed to go, and our attorney advises we shouldn't fix the road either, or we could be liable. What a mess. See you in court. Scam artists. When we first saw the house, nestled in the peaceful mountains, it was like a dream come true. The view was breathtaking, the air was crisp, and the promise of a quiet life away from the city was too good to pass up. Our realtor assured us that the HOA was very lenient, and the dues were minimal, just enough to keep the roads in good shape and cover a few other small expenses. Everything seemed perfect. At the closing, we were handed a stack of documents. Among them were the HOA declarations that outlined the rules and regulations. They seemed straightforward enough, no major restrictions that would interfere with our lifestyle. We signed the papers, handed over the check, and just like that, we were homeowners. For the first year, things were quiet. We paid our dues, which were relatively low, and enjoyed our new home. The road was a bit rough, but we chalked it up to the mountain terrain and the fact that it was a private road. However, as time went on, the road's condition worsened. Potholes appeared, cracks widened, and during the winter it became almost impassable. We began attending HOA meetings to voice our concerns. That's when we met the so-called interim board. They were an odd bunch, always vague about the finances and defensive when questioned about the road maintenance. They assured us that repairs were coming, but year after year, nothing changed. Frustration grew among the homeowners. A few of us decided to dig deeper into the HOA's operations. We requested financial statements, meeting minutes, and other documents. What we found was alarming. The financial statements were a mess, full of discrepancies and unexplained expenses. Meeting minutes were either non-existent or incomplete. One particularly determined neighbor managed to track down the original HOA declarations. To our shock, we discovered that they had expired over 12 years ago. The HOA, as a legal entity, no longer had any authority. The current board was operating without any legal basis, collecting dues and making decisions without any legitimate power. Armed with this information, we confronted the interim board. They were visibly rattled but continued to insist they were in charge. They argued that even though the declarations had expired, the HOA still existed in practice, and they had a duty to maintain the community. We weren't buying it. Our next step was to seek legal advice. Our attorney confirmed that the HOA's declarations had indeed expired, and that the interim board had no legal standing. He advised us that any money we paid to them was essentially being collected under false pretenses. Furthermore, he warned us against repairing the road ourselves, as doing so could make us liable for any accidents or damages that occurred. With no one maintaining the road, its condition continued to deteriorate. Driving up and down became a daily hazard. Delivery trucks refused to come up, and emergency vehicles would have a hard time reaching us if needed. We were stuck in a nightmare scenario, paying dues to a defunct HOA while our road fell apart. Communication among the homeowners increased. We formed an unofficial committee to explore our options. Some suggested forming a new, legitimate HOA, while others wanted to take legal action against the former board members. The idea of taking them to court gained traction, but it was a daunting prospect. Legal battles are expensive and time-consuming, and there was no guarantee of winning. Eventually, we decided to sue the former board members. We gathered evidence, documenting the state of the road, the expired declarations, and the fraudulent dues collections. Our attorney filed the lawsuit accusing them of fraud, misrepresentation, and negligence. The lawsuit sent shockwaves through our small community. The former board members, now defendants, reacted with outrage and denial. They hired their own lawyers and prepared to fight back. The legal process was slow and grueling, with numerous hearings, motions, and delays. It took a toll on all of us, both financially and emotionally. Amidst the legal battle, a few good things happened. The media picked up our story, bringing attention to our plight and the broader issue of rogue HOAs operating without oversight. We received support and advice from other homeowners who had gone through similar experiences. This gave us some hope and motivation to keep fighting. We also managed to get some temporary repairs done on the road. A few homeowners pooled resources and hired a contractor to fill the worst potholes and patch the biggest cracks. It wasn't a permanent fix, but it made driving a bit safer. We did this carefully, ensuring we didn't assume liability for the entire road. After what felt like an eternity, our case went to trial. Both sides presented their arguments, and the judge listened carefully. We were nervous but hopeful. The evidence was clear. The HOA declarations had expired, and the defendants had no legal authority to collect dues or make decisions. The judge ruled in our favor. He declared the former board's actions illegal and ordered them to refund the dues collected over the past 12 years. He also mandated the dissolution of the fake HOA entity and recommended we form a new, legitimate association if we chose to do so. With the court's decision behind us, we finally felt a sense of relief. We received our refunds, though the money couldn't compensate for the stress and frustration we endured. More importantly, we had the opportunity to start fresh. We held a community meeting to discuss our next steps. Some neighbors wanted to form a new HOA with clear legal declarations and proper oversight. Others were wary, preferring a less formal arrangement for maintaining the road and handling other shared responsibilities. We decided to take our time and consider all options carefully, learning from our past mistakes. Looking back, it's hard to believe how naive we were when we first moved in. We trusted the professionals, realtors, attorneys, title companies, to protect our interests, but they let us down. We learned the hard way the importance of doing our own due diligence, asking the right questions, and not taking anything at face value. The experience brought our community closer together. We bonded over our shared struggle and worked as a team to overcome the challenges. It wasn't the idyllic mountain life we envisioned, but it taught us resilience and the power of collective action. If there's one lesson to take from our story, it's this: never assume everything is as it seems, especially when it comes to homeownership and HOAs. Do your homework, verify the documents, and stay informed. And if you ever find yourself in a situation like ours, don't be afraid to stand up for your rights and seek justice. Our road is still a work in progress, but at least now we have control over our destiny. We may not have the perfect mountain retreat, but we have a community that's stronger and wiser, and that's something no scam artist can take away from us. Look into forming a road district with the county. That's what our HOA did, so now it's possible to dissolve while solving that issue, because that's really the only practical thing the HOA offers. I believe it redirects some of the property taxes owners pay to go to the newly formed road. I hear you, though. I think a lot of people don't understand the challenges of dissolving a legal entity. You have to be willing to invest minimum $10,000 into lawyer fees on the chance you'll win. As someone who's been digging and in a similar situation, if they're collecting dues and not filling their nonprofit organization taxes, you might be able to strong-arm them into a position or at least convince the other owners to legally dissolve it, since it could be liability on the owners when the IRS finds the HOA. I believe all of this is available to look up on the IRS site and Secretary of State's website. I spent many a night poring over CCRs and state law too. Best of luck, friend. I am glad you got rid of the old board. As FD as that situation is, you needed to contact a lawyer like yesterday. 12 years y'all have been paying, that's thousands of dollars just given away. Get a lawyer and get your money back and get rid of those bastards.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.